Facebook has announced new changes. They just had the F8, which is their big summit where they make announcements about new developments on Facebook. And here is what's new. The company has begun implementing a system of ranking news organizations by trust, relying on user surveys to determine which news sources are broadly trusted. So this is something interesting. Facebook, of course, there's been like the whole fake news situation that has befallen them. Cambridge Analytica, people stopping the trusting of Facebook and saying things like, you need to come testify before Congress to get on the record about your practices and everything. And they are announcing a new system of ranking news based on what users think of the news services trustworthiness. What do you guys think about that? Where does your mind go? Positives, negatives, anything?
Yeah, great question, Brett.
Good.
It just depends on what kind of news you subscribe to that you want to get on Facebook. For one, I've never gone to, the only news I get from Facebook is the drama that's happening in my hometown with people I went to high school with. Other than that, or ramblings of opinions of people that are mad about something.
Right.
It's like this echo chamber of just, I'm mad at the right, I'm mad at the left, my credit's terrible, I'm up, like just all that. So I think this could be a good thing, but how long till money seeps in and people start paying Facebook to make sure that their entity is at the top of the list?
That's so true. Here, we have a quote from it, but we don't need to go to the graphic. It's the last, but I'll read it. This is Ian Bremmer, who's like, globalism got me here, globalism's wrong now kind of guy. He goes, my definition of a dystopia is a country or an environment where citizens get their news as determined and filtered by the world's largest advertising company.
Yeah.
Which, whatever you think of Ian Bremmer, like that is an amazing thought.
Right.
For me, it's, yeah, what were you gonna say?
No, I really think we already do this a little bit. You shop for the news that you want, you shop for the news that reinforces your worldview, I mean, I'll say this here at TYT, at least we take stock. You'll hear us say, well, to be fair, and then we'll try to recognize an argument on the other side. Or I don't see a lot of that. I go over to Fox News to see what madness is going down there. And I don't see any sort of honest dialogue going on there. And maybe it's going on just at times I'm not watching. Now to Facebook and the news. So if you're already shopping for the news, then this strikes me as an extension of that. You're letting your subscribers, in essence, shop ahead of time and tell you, oh yeah, we don't like that, we do like this, and you're just going to get a consensus that reflects your subscriber base.
Here's what's so weird about it to me, is the whole idea of fake news getting the best of people. Obviously, it's a problem. I was watching the playoffs, right, and NBA playoffs, and there was an ad that ran. We have a video of it. This is the new ad. I watched it. I didn't know what it was for. I thought it was for like insurance or something. It turns out it was a Facebook ad, and here's a shortened version of that ad.
We came here for the friends. And we got to know the friends of our friends. And just like that, we felt a little less alone. But then something happened. We had to deal with spam, clickbait, fake news, and data misuse. That's going to change. Because when this place does what it was built for, then we all get a little closer.
This is the better, we're here together. No news in that. News is the enemy in that, right?
That's a great spot because it says we're going to hit the reset and get back to just being a community.
How true is that though?
No, that's the point. It's a great spot, but it doesn't reflect the reality.
The fundamental issue is, sorry about what happened with the news. You guys were fooled in terms of what news seemed to be trustworthy. So our solution is to rely on you to tell us how trustworthy the news is. Right. You had the wool pulled over your eyes, which makes you a perfect candidate to tell us what is going on. The motivation behind that is, well, if you guys are saying it's trustworthy, it must not be a problem. It seems like they're shifting the potential blame onto the users.
They are. They're going to give themselves immediately high ground, right? They have high, look, you guys decided. This isn't our responsibility. We don't have a board of journalists, citizen journalists is what we're going to count on. You guys.
Right, it's like, it's got to be kind of misreported. It has to be. They did say, Zuckerberg said, I'm going to be spending billions and billions of dollars by hiring, they said 10,000 people on their end to go through and do it. But I don't know, it's just such a difficult situation for them to be in because so much of what people consume now is news. And if America is as polarized as he says it is, then a polarized group of people choosing what's newsworthy or what's respectable news and what's not, you're asking essentially the mob to determine what is the better side, and the mob's going to choose one side over what's respectable. It's just, I wonder what, it takes a certain emotional intelligence to sift through and determine what is a good news source and a bad news source. And it just seems that time and time again, they are doing this like very techie approach to it. And I wonder how much they've proven how much they've missed along the way. I wonder if this is a good solution or a bad solution.
But do people really want to go to Facebook to get the news though? You know, I
don't, but they
do though. They get, I was with you. I was like, oh, I don't, Facebook, that's where everybody's dog is dying and everybody's mom needs a liver. And it's like, I'm just so bummed out when I'm on Facebook. Everybody's dying or sick. And so I said, I don't think people really get news there. But then, obviously, as this controversy broke, and even just in the last few years, I've learned after reading a bunch of stuff, most people get their news from Facebook. I mean, it's a real source of information.
But it's not like headlines. You make a great point that you are so right about that, Mark. But I think the news we get from Facebook is this diluted, interjected with someone else's opinion or heavily curated from, like you said, because people want to look at news that identifies and leans on how they feel. Case in point, I work with this kid, 18 years old, who came up to me and was just like, you know what, Jason, I don't really get the Black Lives Matter movement. To me, it just seems like a bunch of black people on TV that are really mad and angry about what? And I'm like, well, okay, what news do you watch? Like, well, my family watches Fox News. Well, there you go. You know, that's why. So
you needed to ask what news they watch?
I just wanted to make sure I was hearing what I was hearing, Mark, because for my mind went like,
yeah, that is pretty wild.
It's definitely not an easy thing Facebook's facing. Like, I don't want to say that, like, guys, just figure it out. It's simple. They do seem to be pursuing a bunch of options. There's one option that this, it was a Huffington Post article that we found this in, where they brought up, what if we applied to Facebook the model that happens on cable? And that model is Time Warner, all the major cable providers, and what they do, the reason you see CNN is they pay CNN millions and millions of dollars as a licensing fee. So they're like, all right, here's the money, here's the millions of dollars a year, we'll put you on channel 19 or whatever, and then we will make ads and stuff to run there. And so someone asked Zuckerberg if he'd be interested in that. He said, I'm not sure paying media companies makes sense. And then they, elaborated, cable companies pay news organizations like CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News lucrative carriage fees in exchange for their content. And news executives like Rupert Murdoch and Jonah Peretti of BuzzFeed have begun agitating for Facebook to begin paying them as well. Who did Zuckerberg meet with when he had like the media executives? According to this Huffington Post article, he met with the New York Times, BuzzFeed, Atlantic Media, CNN, News Corp, Huffington Post, and other news organizations. So those were the ones that were mainly listed at a conference of media leaders convened by The Information, a technology news site. And so he's getting together with the members of like the mainstream media, but what is the general public's confidence in the mainstream media? Like, they're asking folks to go out there and say what they consider a reputable news organization. This is last year's stuff. This is, it says, in its annual confidence poll, Gallup found that Americans' trust in the mass media to report the news fully, accurately, and fairly reached its lowest level in polling history, with only 32% saying they have a great deal of fair amount of trust in the media. I pulled this because it's from Sinclair Broadcast Group, which is just a full circle of nonsense from the media.
Don't you think?
Which goes to show, like, who knows what the real stuff is? We do.
Don't you think it would be more beneficial for Facebook to create a network, such as like TYT has done, that would maybe have different channels that would appeal to different sections of opinion and within media versus,
and that would hold them accountable. That's the way to hold them accountable.
They don't want that. They're in the curation business. They're in the targeting business. They're in the data business. They're trying to sell data. The entire thing that was funny about the Zuckerberg deal was that many of the senators and congressmen talking to Zuckerberg didn't really get, guys, this is the business we're in. We sell analytics to these various companies so that they can target messages, commercial messages, political messages, whatever, at our at this universe of people that we've broken down beyond any sort of basic demographic breakdown. We know their likes, dislikes, we know their leanings in every different way, their tastes as far as appetites go politically and literally. So I think they don't want to get into the actual news coverage business. They just want to stay right where they are, but they're trying to dodge problems. As Brett says, this is a tough spot because this isn't a very easy puzzle for them to solve. They're going to need an editorial board, I think, in a sense. And that editorial board is going to have to be big, and they have to start recognizing facts and information and not political biases.
It seems like they are splitting the difference on that. They're going to hire 10,000 fact checkers, essentially. And 10,000 is so much, but when you consider how much information comes in there all the time, I just don't know.
Yeah, that may not be enough.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.